Welcome to the Castro Valley Compass, navigating your week through Castro Valley. Brought to you by the Castro Valley School of Music. We bring music to life. For information about private and group music lessons, call 510-397-0721 or visit us at cvsom.com. And now, here's your host of the Castro Valley Compass, Shane Sharkey.
Hey, Shane Sharkey here with a very special edition of the Castro Valley Compass. We had Mell Speed in the studio a couple of days ago to talk all about the Castro Valley History Festival and Pro Rodeo Parade that he's helping put on this weekend. It is on Saturday, May 10th, and it goes from 3 to 9 p.m. Now, there's going to be not just a parade, but the whole history aspect of this event is going to be extremely interesting. I remember seeing an event at the Performing Arts Center several years back where they had a bunch of cool footage and photos of Castro Valley as it developed as a town, and a lot of that stuff is going to be featured at this event. So if you're interested in learning about the history of Castro Valley, definitely want to check this out. Again, that's this Saturday, May 10th from 3 to 9 p.m. And we'll talk all about that and so much more here in the interview with Mell. Enjoy. Well, let me first, as we get into it, let me officially welcome you. Thank you, Mell, for coming in and sitting with us today.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about the parade and all things rodeo, but I'd love to touch base on some other stuff since you've been a Castro Valley resident for so long. But let's start with the parade. Why don't you tell people when that actually happens?
Okay, so next Saturday, May 10th, we're kind of redoing what has been for over 80 years, a rodeo parade. It got canceled last year due to non-attendance and kind of slow. So the Ral Ranch Rodeo Committee contacted me and asked if I'd be interested in bringing it back. And I kind of talked them into letting me revamp it and move it. It's been since, I think, the 80s, a Saturday morning parade. And over the years, I think it just kind of slowly died off just because the community has changed. And so I'm kind of hoping by moving it into an afternoon, into an evening event on Saturday, it'll be a little bit better attended. And so, and because the rodeo and the rodeo parade has been part of our history for a really long time, in fact, a lot of people don't even realize one of the very first rodeos to ever happen in the state of California was actually in Castro Valley.
Really?
So it's been rodeos have been part of our history for a very, very long time. Don Castro, that actually owned this land back in the day in the 1800s, actually held rodeos.
Wow.
So it's actually been around for a long, long time. And then the parade itself has actually been around in our communities for about 80 years. And so I got this idea of, well, since the rodeo has been such a long history thing and the parade has been such a long-running history thing, why don't we create a Castro Valley History Festival?
Yeah.
And so we're going to do like a 3 to 9 street festival, and I've got a bunch of vendors coming and displaying photographs, old photographs and old video and old productions of what our community looked like about the time we started actually filming stuff. So we've got that coming, and we got some really cool educational things to kind of teach the community what Castro Valley is all about. I actually even have a blown up photograph of Don Castro himself.
Wow.
that you'll be able to do a photo op with.
There you go. That's cool. You know, it reminds me of something that they had at the Performing Arts Center. Gosh, it must have been 8 or 10 years ago when they did a movie presentation of the history of Castro Valley, and it was fully packed. I mean, people were really interested in that. I can imagine that it's going to be a big draw this year.
I hope so. And a lot of that stuff that was in that will be part of this on next Saturday. So
that's great.
It'll be a kind of a cool thing for the community to come down and learn what Castro Valley is, and where we're kind of going.
Yeah.
So.
I just saw today, I think it was on Robert's Castro Valley News Facebook page, he did a sort of a then and now comparison with part of the boulevard where, it was a lot of, trees and a hill and this couple small stores. Now the same shot of the same location, but with all the modern stuff now.
I can remember coming into Castro Valley as a kid when we first moved here, and there was a 4x4 post in the middle of Castro Valley Boulevard and Redwood Road with a stop sign.
Really?
There was one traffic signal in this town in 1964.
Wow.
And that was over by the high school, which is where Higher and Redwood Road intersect. There was a traffic light there. That was the one and only light in Castro Valley in 1960. I'm showing my age here.
Boy, things have sure changed. Now try to drive around the town.
Oh, you can't go 3 blocks without running into a street light somewhere. Yeah,
right. Or
exactly.
even just driving around like after school gets let out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like you're back-to-back traffic all over the place.
Literally, I tell people don't try to visit me because I literally live between Marshall School and Creekside, and you cannot get to my street at 8 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is just gridlocked.
Wow.
It's funny how things have really changed.
Yep. Interesting. So the history aspect of it is a really cool part. Is it? And then it sounds like vendors. Is it? I think about the light parade. Is it? That's something that's gotten really popular over the years. Is it anything to do along the same lines of the light parade?
So literally, I am copying the exact footprint, layout, design, times as the light parade. So it's going to be a 3 to 9, which is the same as the light parade is. Only thing different, I'm moving the parade from 5:30 to 6. Mm-hmm. So that I'm kind of hoping the parade will be an hour long, from 6 to 7. And because it's daylight, there's no lights involved, so which is kind of cool. So, it's pretty much the same format. I thought, the white parade is working so well, why change it? So we just are pretty much going to copy the exact same layout and design.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it's really fun to see the community get together for things like the cruise night and the light show. I can imagine how if this goes well, then we'll just be having another event for us to get together as a town.
Yeah, it would. I'm really got my fingers crossed that the community is going to come down and really learn about what Castro Valley was and get into that community spirit that we see at cruise night. I kind of work on that one as well, and it's great to see the community come out and just hang out on the boulevard on a Saturday night and watch cars just cruise up and down the boulevard and then with the light parade having so many people that have wrapped their arms around that event. It's actually really exciting to watch. We
had the CEO of Sutter Eden Hospital in, and she was talking about how the first time they were part of the light parade, they kind of thought, oh, well, it'll be fun. We'll all wear a necklace that lights up. And then they got here and they saw what a big event it was. And then the next year they went all out.
I pleaded with them for a couple of years to come out, and then finally we came up with an idea. It was after COVID, was to kind of honor first responders and doctors and nurses and police and make them all grand marshals. So I plead with them, please come out and bring some of the doctors that kind of got us through those crazy times, right? Yeah. And you're right. I think 4 or 5 of them showed up, and I think they put some glow in the dark necklaces or something on. And then the next year they came with this blowout float that actually ended up winning the Grand Marshal Award. Yeah. And then to see them, and it's funny because I actually texted her. Or sent an email thanking her at the end of the parade. It was like midnight on the night of the light parade last year. And she immediately responded. She goes, we're already working on next year's float.
Wow, that's great. And being the biggest employer in the area, I mean, that's got to be great having that kind of support and involvement.
It's nice to see. It's really nice to see how many people are getting involved with the community and trying to support what we're doing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's funny because when I first moved here, it must have been 2002, I think it was. I was kind of trying to do a little research. What is this Castro Valley area about? And everything I saw was reflecting us as a bedroom community. It's like, this is where you come and sleep, but you don't really do anything else here. It's not much going on. That sure has changed over the years.
Well, and that's what we're trying. That's, a bunch of us have gotten together over the years and come up with different ideas of things we could do downtown to kind of do that and get the community out of the house and down on the boulevard and see what the merchants are doing. See what the restaurants are, and supporting the merchants and the restaurants in our downtown. So.
Definitely. Well, we've got a rich history here, and it's good to see people get out and not just recognize that history, but get to know each other in a sort of a different venue than they would in otherwise sort of a normal occurrences. Like, hey, I know you, or you. I saw a woman that worked or I think she still works there at Patelco at a Chamber of Commerce event. And it's like, I didn't know her name, she didn't know my name, but we saw each other like, hey, big hugs. And it was just
we recognized it.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny. Like outside of our normal context of seeing each other, it's great to connect like that.
Right.
So. When it comes to the rodeo itself, it sounds like there's a lot of events going on. I think of, when I think of the rodeo, I think of, an afternoon or an evening, but it sounds like there's, multiple days of events going on. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about.
There's some qualifying things that happen on Wednesday afternoons. And then there's a cowgirl luncheon on Thursday that takes place out there. And then there's the Friday night bull bash. And then barbecue afterwards on Friday night.
What is the bull bash? Is that like
it's actually bull riding. It's
really?
Yeah, it's pretty much under the lights. They recently in the last couple of years put up arena lights, so they can light up the stadium now. And it's actually a kind of of all the events I think that happened at a rodeo, I think the bull riding is probably the most exciting, and I think what everybody kind of looks forward to. And it's literally a Friday night of just pretty much bull riding. So it's a lot of fun to
That's
watch.
Cool.
And then, of course, the full rodeo is on Saturday and then on Sunday.
What time does it start on Saturday?
Oh, don't hold me to this. Don't hold me to this, but I think it's 12:30.
Okay.
I think it's 12:30 or 1 to 5, something like that. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And then just to remind us, the parade itself is going to be on Saturday evening.
So we're going to have a street fair from 3 to 9.
Okay.
At about 6 o'clock, we're going to kick off the parade.
Okay.
The parade will run probably about an hour, and then we're going to have an after party that goes from 7 to 9. We got live music, and they got music in 2 different locations along the route, and we're giving away cowboy hats to the first 250 kids that show up at the merch booth, which is about in the heart of where Santa Maria runs into Castro Valley Boulevard. There's a merch booth there, and the first 250 kids get a free hat and a ticket to go to the actual rodeo for free.
Nice. Is that on Sunday?
I think the tickets are available either Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
But yeah, if you show up with the cowboy hat and your ticket, you get in free.
That's cool. Now, as far as the parade goes, what type of, will there be floats? Is it horses?
We have a variety of things showing up. We've got a couple of schools coming, and they're doing their little thing. There's a bunch of Little League coming out. I've got some classic cars.
Oh, nice.
Entries, some floats. A couple of people building floats, and then, of course, horses.
Oh, great.
we got the horse. Right now, we for sure have the Sheriff's Department mounted posse.
Nice.
I got to present colors in the beginning of the parade, which is really cool. So, yeah.
Excellent. Wow, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so.
I definitely
fingers crossed.
encourage everybody to come and check it out.
Yeah, please.
Add to the list of great events that we have going on here.
And anybody that sees me walking on the street, if you got any great ideas for next year, feel free to hunt me down, because I'm looking forward to seeing what we could do this year and what we can do to make it bigger and better as we go down the road.
That's great.
I'd love to keep the tradition going.
Definitely. Well, speaking of running into you out on the street, I see you all over the place at Christmas tree lighting, at the different events like we mentioned, the light parade and everything. Is there any one thing that you've seen that's developed over the years that is your absolute favorite, or is it all equally as wonderful? Or
I'm so proud of just where events have in the community have turned out. The car show has just exploded, which is next month in June. from I think 50 or 60 cars. I think last year they had over 400 cars.
Oh man!
The cruise night has turned into an amazing evening,
Yeah.
and I'm almost tempted to say it's probably one of my most favorite events, is because it's just kind of almost like an impromptu thing where literally anybody can come and cruise, and to see just regular cars driving down the road with families sitting in their cars, to some classics and some of the nice cars that come out of the Good Guys show in Pleasanton that come over for, because they get to, it's not like a car show where the cars are just sitting there and people walk by. It's the other way around. You get to sit there and watch cars go by, which is kind of, so it's hard because there's so many really amazing events that have just blossomed over the years into some really cool things for the community to come down and enjoy. So
Yeah.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
And of course, the Fall Festival, which has been around forever and ever and ever as well, is kind of a cool little event as well. So.
Well, it's funny because the cruise night, the last time that it happened, it was, I mean, I had forgotten that it was going on, and then I remember getting caught in some traffic, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's right, it's a cruise night. So I actually parked my car and just kind of walked out. It was like, yeah, this is awesome. There's so many people out there, and
this last year was pretty cool in that one of the things that I noticed this last year over before is you saw a lot of people just pulled over, and some people were cruising in their cars as well. This time people literally parked and they were literally walking up down the sidewalks, checking out all the little activities and stuff up and down the boulevard, which was really cool to see. The community coming out and just kind of walking and enjoying the boulevard, which is, what I think was kind of the image or the thoughts behind when they actually remodeled the boulevard back in 2012, was to actually see the community come out and actually walk those sidewalks and support the vendors and support the merchants and restaurants. So, yeah.
It's hugely important now, especially after COVID bouncing back, is supporting our local businesses and keeping them not just open but thriving. It's been great to see that.
It's really cool to see, I hope most of the merchants get out there and participate with it, so they can reap the profits of the foot traffic out there. So it'd be nice to see.
Well, it's funny because I remember when I got out and started walking around the cruise night, the last time I remember coming across some businesses, I was like, oh, I didn't actually realize this was here in town. See their booth and like, where are you guys? And like actually get to know people in a much more thorough way and realize that we have a lot going on.
Well,
here.
We're not doing 35 miles an hour, down the boulevard. 25 miles an hour down, down the boulevard. Yeah. You're rushing to your destination, and when you get out and walk, you start realizing, oh my God, I didn't realize this was here. I didn't really. It's kind of cool to get out there and have a reason to come down and do it, and then have another reason to actually see what some of the merchants have to offer, which some of them are, a lot of them are amazing little stores that really could use all of our support, especially in the economy we're in right now. It would be really nice to see that.
Well, it's funny because in the past I've heard people, when they say they want to go out and experience small town vibes on a Friday or Saturday night, they think of, Walnut Creek, or they're going to go someplace that's, not Castro Valley. And we're really developing into more of a, I don't know how far away people would be driving to come here, but the locals are really starting to enjoy the vibe that we've got going on here in our area. Yeah,
I agree. I agree. I think with a lot of the activities that are going on in the village, I think the village has done a great job in updating and getting some solid merchants in the village, and then just up and down the street. Some of the things that are at the marketplace, Pete's and the barbecue place, Canyons. It's really cool to see all that activity that's starting to finally start to develop. In our downtown communities, it's really nice to drive down and actually see people walking the street. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. Families and just people out having a good time. Right. And speaking of the development of the area over all these years, I remember when I went to that event at the Performing Arts Center, it showed a lot of like the first time the freeway opened up here. And just seeing that, are there going to be like photos of that type of thing at this parade, historical?
Yeah. Randy Vanderbilt, which is he's a a contractor in the area, also a part of the Castro Valley Rotary. Him and his team of historians have put together some amazing things that, in fact, he's taking up, I think he's got 4 booths in a row. So he's got 40 feet of displays and videos that he's going to be showing. And some of the things he shared with me, it's just really cool to see these 1950s cars, and they're driving down Castro Valley Boulevard that was 2 lanes, lane in either direction, and seeing all the small little stores that were up and down the boulevard at the time, and then comparing it to kind of where we're almost coming back to that, which is kind of cool to see a lot of those merchants coming back to the boulevard and actually seeing people out and having a place to walk to and from.
And there's actually some businesses that have been here this whole time. I think Pete's Hardware has been here for...
I just had a lengthy conversation with Linda. Her family has owned Pete's Hardware for 100 years.
Wow.
Which is fantastic. I mean, I think it's next year she will actually celebrate 100 years in their family will celebrate being in business 100 years in town.
Wow.
Which is an amazing feat.
Yeah.
And then to have the same family. I think she was telling me her great grandfather or grandfather, I can't remember which one it was, actually helped buy the first fire engines for Castro Valley. And so he was pretty active in trying to develop Castro Valley way back, in the 20s and 30s. So it's pretty amazing to still see a business like that, especially a hardware store, especially a local mom and pop hardware stores. They're so hard to find anymore. The big box stores have done an amazing job of crushing the little guy.
Right.
And to see Pete's be able to pull that off. In fact, in Castro Valley, we have 2. We have 2 small hardware stores in town, which is really hard to find anywhere else. They're just, which further supports that the community is supporting our own and supporting the small businessman, which is really nice to see.
Definitely. And then as far as even places like Safeway, I think there was a Safeway. It's amazing to think that they were in such a small building, but over by where I think it's on where Starbucks is or close to that.
So when I moved here in 1964, there was Safeway was actually out it was on the same property as it is now, but it was literally out on the corner. And the front doors to go in Safeway was actually diagonal right on the corner of Castro Valley and Redwood Road, and the parking was actually behind it.
Huh.
And then later, I don't remember exactly when, but later they built the existing building behind it and then tore down the front building, which now is the parking lot. So they actually flipped the property. But when I moved here, Safeway's front doors were on the corner of Castro Valley Boulevard and Redwood Road. And there was an empty lot across the street where Wells Fargo and what was World Savings, that was an empty lot.
Wow.
Where Chevron is now, there was a gas station there, but behind that, all that land where Lucky's and all that stuff was, that was an empty lot in 1964. There was literally, this was definitely a country town in the 60s, and look where we are now.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to see people chiming in on things like on the Facebook Castro Valley news page and others where people have moved away from Castro Valley, but they still have this sense of connection. When they share, I remember my first job was at this restaurant or this gas station or whatever, and then they're still keeping in touch with the people that are here now.
Yeah.
It's quite a community that we've had over the years.
I agree.
So when it comes to the parade, I just want to make sure that we really let people know exactly where and what time they should be showing up. You said it starts at 3 o'clock?
Right. So we're going to start, just if you're out and about on Saturday morning, I'm warning you now. We're planning on starting to close Castro Valley Boulevard from Redwood Road to Lake Chabot. We're planning on starting that about 12:30. So get your errands done early.
Yep.
We're starting to close about 12:30. We're hoping to have the road completely secure by 1-ish. And then the street vendors will start loading in and all the other infrastructure for that event, along with the bands and everything else that's coming. And then the actual festival is scheduled to start at 3 o'clock. So music will start at 3. And then about 4, we're going to open the left-hand turn on Lake Chabot Road into onto Castro Valley Boulevard for the float and the parade entries, and we'll actually stage all of those entries from Lake Chabot Road on Castro Valley Boulevard up to San Miguel. And which is different than the way the rodeo parade used to run. The rodeo parade, we used to close a lot of the side streets, Nunes and San Miguel and Norbridge and the BART station, and I've tried to stay away from doing that so I don't disrupt too much of the the neighbors and getting in and out of their residences. So
if somebody wanted a prime spot to watch the parade, what would you suggest?
So anywhere from San Miguel to Redwood Road on the north side, or what would be the westbound traffic, is where the parade actually takes place. So it's actually on the westbound side of the road. The street fair is actually on the east side of the road. And all of those vendors will stretch from San Miguel down to about Santa Maria, actually maybe even down as far as actually Wilbeam. And we have we should have, I'm hoping, pretty close to 50 street vendors.
Oh, great.
And then a lot of tents that are going to be, educating the community. I have the Cowboy Experience coming, which is an event that happens at the rodeo. I finally convinced them to bring that actually to the event.
Nice.
And we will actually have cowboys and cowgirls there educating the community about all the different events and competitions that happen during a rodeo. And then we have actually a children's rodeo area where kids will learn about all the different activities, and they'll actually get educated on how to rope a steer and do all the different fun things that kind of happen at a rodeo event. And I've got some people from the farmers market actually coming.
They're
going to come over and kind of promote the market.
Great.
So, yeah.
Excellent. And remind us, there's a giveaway. The hat giveaway is where will that be?
The hat giveaway will be at the merchant booth, which is going to be right on the corner of Santa Maria and Castro Valley Boulevard. And I think we're going to start at about 3:30 giving away hats. So you get a free hat here and then a ticket to actually go out and actually go to the rodeo.
Great.
For the following week.
And so you said it was the first 250 kids?
First 250 kids are going to get a free cowboy hat and then a free ticket to actually go out and check out the rodeo.
That's great. Well, it's a good way to get people out there nice and early and ready for the event and looking sharp all the while.
There we go. Exactly.
Excellent. Well, is there anything that you wanted to cover about this event that I haven't asked you about? Or is there
anything I didn't cover?
Yeah. I mean, I
don't think I finished those as far as going. So the parade route actually goes from San Miguel on the westbound side all the way to Redwood Road. It makes a U-turn at Redwood Road, comes back to Wilbeam, and then it exits at Wilbeam. The grandstand, if you want to hear we'll actually have an announcer. That'll be right about Rigatoni's and maybe the ice creamery. There'll be a grandstand there with an announcer that'll introduce each float and kind of tell you about each entry. So if you want to hear that, if you're within a block of that, you should be able to hear the announcer.
Great.
Kind of describing what each entry is and who they are and that kind of stuff. So if you want to hear it, I would say be within a half a block or a block of Rigatoni's and the ice creamery, or if you want to see the parade twice, anything from Rigatoni's on down to Redwood Road and then back to Wilbeam, it'll be doubled up because it'll go down one way and make a U-turn, come back, so you'll get to check it out twice if you're down on that end. So.
Cool. Now, are people allowed to bring lawn chairs and that sort of thing? Do you
Whatever
know?
you want.
Okay. Cool. So it'd be good to.
They'll be, because of the vehicles on the road and the animals. We'll have marshals up and down the road, kind of making sure all the little toes stay back off the parade route. But yeah, absolutely, blankets or chairs, and yeah.
Great.
It would be perfectly welcomed.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, it sounds like people need to get a spot nice and early and put up their chairs and blankets out and get ready for a good old time.
And then hunt me down and let me know what you think and give me ideas for the next one.
Great.
I'm ready to go.
Speaking of which, if somebody say they came up with some ideas and they couldn't find you, is there maybe a way to contact you, an email address or something that they can?
Mell Speed at live.com. Real easy. MELSPEED at live.com.
Excellent. Well, hopefully we'll get some ideas coming your way and some feedback, and I'm really excited that this is a new development in all the activities here.
And give the community some history about what Castro Valley is all about, and kind of understand where we've been and where we want to go, and how we want to keep supporting some of the historical things we've been doing all these years, and help to continue to support that, to make us a little different than some of the other towns in our area.
Definitely.
It makes us stand out a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a huge part of this. I'm looking forward to seeing all those cool old slides and hear more about the history of the town
and see a bunch of kids in cowboy hats.
Exactly. That would be great. Great photo op.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mel. I appreciate you coming in today and talking all about this, and look forward to the event.
I appreciate you having me.
All right, a big thanks to Mell Speed for coming out to the studio and joining me for that interview. I learned a lot about Castro Valley, and I'm looking forward to the event this Saturday, the 10th, from 3 to 9 p.m. So again, just as a reminder, the rodeo itself will be the following weekend, the weekend of, I believe it's the 16th or 17th, but there's events going all weekend long. You'll definitely want to check that out if you're a fan of the rodeo. And if you are inclined and able to join us on Saturday, the 10th, we'd love to see you at the Castro Valley History Festival and Pro Rodeo Parade. There's a lot going on this Saturday, and you'll want to check it out. And you want to get there early to get your spot. As Mel mentioned, the grandstand will be right around Rigatoni's and the Ice Creamery there. So if you want to check out the parade and hear the announcer, definitely want to grab a good spot early. So anyhow, big thanks to Mel, and thank you for watching the Castro Valley Compass. We hope to see you on Saturday at the parade.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Castro Valley Compass, navigating your week through Castro Valley. Do you have an idea for the show, or would you like to get involved? We'd love to hear from you. You can send us an email at info@castrovalleycompass.com. That's info@castrovalleycompass.com. See you next time on the Castro Valley Compass, brought to you by the Castro Valley School of Music.